Hello again. Remember this tree? This is Sejuen Elm that we took air layering. And then, more importantly, I think we did this really big cut. I think it's been 2 years since we did this major cut, and I'm waiting for this. This is the healing process. Now, we need to keep a lot of this growth here so that this cell division will stay and hopefully cover this whole thing. It may or may not work, but that's my goal. This is where we took the tree out, right? This was, I think, multiple air layering, and this was the base. And the reason for the big cut was it looked funny. So take a look here. And all these twiggy growth, right? What I did was I took it out of the well-protected area, more shade than normally do for elms. But I felt that it needed protection because of the big wounds. And then I moved it out into sun. So now it's gained all kinds of healthy growth on it. And so I'm gonna start to kind of guide it along. I'm not gonna be finishing this. I figure this has another good 3 to 5 years before it becomes a great bonsai. Now, I've had people that make comments that I should be wiring this, but I think if you're going to wire this at all, it should be in about 3 years when we're trying to get it perfected. We're still in the material improvement stage. So I'm just going to go in and take out what's not necessary. Like in this area, we don't need all this, right? We could use a permanent branch here, but there's a whole cluster of them. And so like this one here isn't a good angle as this one. This one is almost flat across, right? So, oh yeah, I was saying that this is a Sejuen Elm, right? Those of you that like to wire, be careful. These snap. When I was still in my, I'll go ahead and wire some tree stage, I try to do that and then just go snap. So yes, all you wiring people, be careful with Seijuen. Okay, do I need this? Actually, I wonder, I probably should be carving this to make it more transitional, but I think it really would be hard for it to heal. So I'm just going to get rid of most of this, right? So it doesn't get bigger. So this is our permanent branch. These are meant to, oh yeah, see, we have a wound here. So this was being used to heal this over and heal this over, but now it's almost to the point where probably by this year, this will have healed over, and this one probably another 2. So I'm gonna really thin this out so we don't have a bulge. Having done that though, most likely it'll still come back. So I'm gonna stay on top of this, and then over here, I'm gonna work so that it becomes a permanently in place branch. Over here, we got too many. I think the permanent branch is this one here. This one is too big coming forward, but there's a small one. So what I'll do is, most likely the other one will come off too, but now this is the main, and this is probably gonna be removed later. And then over here, if you could see, we don't need this one running with this. So make this cut like that. Now, like I said, this is not final finish. This has got a number of years before we get to that point. And then down here, we don't need this long one. We got a bunch of extras and something like that. Okay, up here, this is not as interesting because a lack of taper. But you see these growth here? That should help to fatten this area and keep this area open, and then you'll end up with a decent taper. And then up here, we don't want as many because it's got a nice taper. This is the only section that really needs to be enhanced. Okay, so we'll look for a permanent branch. This one is a good one, but it goes this way and that way. I'm gonna take the bigger one off because there's less taper, right? We want taper even in our branches, like this. This is the kind of branch that will run into problem. Well, it depends. If this ends up being the front with the big wound, then this might be the new leader, but most likely our front should be over here. And so this big one here is out of proportion. So I shall take it off and go with a new shoot that will come out in the future here. Okay. And then we don't want all these things, all this growth will fatten this area. And what we want is to be fattening down here. So you're going to be able to control a lot of your growth by how you prune. Now, as soon as we get to the growth season, these will take off, right? And grow, 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 especially in the heat. So I'm okay by pruning these quite heavy at this time of the year. And then this one here, future branch, will probably look better if this got stronger. There's a, after spinning around this one here, we don't need this area to end up bulging, so I'm gonna just take this off. Okay, so hopefully in the future, this cluster here, maybe something will come out here and fatten this up, and then we'll have a natural taper. Okay, down here, eventually these will all come off, but there's no harm in letting this grow, right? So I'm just going to cut it like that and just let it go. Versus up here. Now, all these are working to help heal that, right? But I think we could start to thin them out so they're still working, but have potential to become permanent branches in the future. So in terms of where the location is, this is the perfect one. So let me start to remove some of these. Yeah, keep some. So this is sort of a modified sacrifice branch. Eventually most of this will come off, but we're not going to do it today because see, they're starting to heal over. Oh, this is the seal that I used at that time, I think. And then on this side here, definitely I have to work that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is kind of thin them out, keeping enough to keep this healing process going, but not so much that it kind of gets in the way of other growth. Okay, I have this one going this way. Well, this way. Well, a lot of times they'll cover this wound. So anyway, like these are going up, so I'll take these out. But at the base, there'll be new shoots coming out again. So see, like this one here is starting to heal, help heal. So, you know, when you have to make these big cuts, you should invest 2 to 3 years, make sure that it starts to heal back, because that means that it's a better material in the long run than to hurry up and then find out that it will not heal. So that's what I've been doing, and I think some of you are thinking, why don't you just hurry up and get done? Because I'm trying to make good materials for the future for other people. I got some that is nicely done, but my goal has always been to supply people that are doing bonsai with good workable material. And that's my goal here. Oh, this one here might need to go in another year or two. It's helping to fatten this area, so that's okay. But too much longer, then it'll start to be bulgy, right? Bulgy, is that a word? Okay, so I still want to see what's going to happen. I'm almost tempted to bring out my carving things and carve this, but I'm not sure whether it's worth the effort. Okay, I finished pulling all the weeds, put fertilizer, and put a top dressing on this. So I think this is ready to go. And then as soon as the heat starts, I'll be pruning this thing forever. Generally, elms need to be pruned like 6 or 8 times in a growing season. Sometimes even more if you want perfection. Looking at the backside and the wound, you see a little patch of moss. Well, there's a Japanese saying that says that if you wait long enough, the moss will grow in. Well, we tend to kind of slap on moss because, hey, that could take for a long time, right? Well, this one, it kind of started on its own, and maybe that'll follow the Japanese thinking in that it will finish covering this moss. Well, I thought I just kind of give you some of the thinking they have in Japan. It's definitely not a commercial method. Well, anyway, this project started as air layering. I think this was the bottom of the 4 or 5 pieces that came off the top, and then we made that major cut a couple of years ago, and still got 3 to 5 years left. But anyway, if you really want to produce good material, you have to follow this format. And if you're going to put wire, be very careful on the Seijuen. They do have a tendency to snap. Okay, anyway, this is Hiro saying goodbye. I'll see you again real soon in another chapter.